Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Mathias Fillon. I'm project director for Anima Investment Network, and I'm the coordinator of the Next Society, the initiative in which this event is organized, thanks to Berytech and their super team. So thank you, guys. As you know, the Next Society promotes the innovation ecosystem in the Mediterranean as a regional community. And this is definitely one of our ambitions. We're going to talk about this later on during the panel. But it also gives the opportunity to each Southern Mediterranean country, especially during one dedicated event, to focus the regional attention on its innovation capacities and the opportunities offered to innovators. So we already organized such events in Tunisia, in Palestine, and in Egypt at the time where it was possible to hold them physically. And also today for Lebanon during this Euromed Scale-Up Innovation Day. I would like to announce today a new major event for the Next Society to showcase Jordan this time as a regional entrepreneurship hotbed with a rich and diverse entrepreneurship ecosystem. This event, this is the Jordan Entrepreneurship Summit 2020 from resilience to growth. It's co-organized in the framework of two European projects in collaboration. So the Next Society, of course, and the JADE project. So it's organized by our partner iPark and Beyond Capital. It will be held on December 15th and 16th, so in less than 1 month. Like today, the event will be fully online and it will include panel discussions and also one-to-one meetings with investors for participating startups. The participants will be able very soon to create their profile on the webpage of the event. So please stay tuned on the Next Society and iPark social media. I'm gonna try to share my screen. Maybe I can do it to show you.
Yes.
No, I'm not allowed. So we just really count on you to be there during this event. So remember 15th and 16th of December for the Jordan Entrepreneurship Summit 2020. Many thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Mathias, you are the coordinator for the Next Society, and you're going to be the moderator for our next panel called The Power of a Mediterranean Innovation on Entrepreneurship. So basically to talk about the support to our ecosystem and network. Please keep going.
In this panel, we're going to talk about the power of a Mediterranean innovation and entrepreneurship support ecosystem and network. So to do so, we were supposed to have 4 high-level panelists who are experts and key players, opportunities for startups. And we are going to see with them how in this Mediterranean region we can address the challenges faced by entrepreneurs, especially in that time of COVID, thanks to an ecosystem or a network of supporters, and how this community of actors can be efficient, impactful, given the specific nature of the region Mediterranean. So the topic is very exciting, but we unfortunately have only 30 minutes to discuss. Let me directly introduce our panelists. So first we have Laura Lecci, who is CEO at EBN, the European Business and Innovation Centers Network. We also have Fabio Maria Montanino, Director of Innovation at the Cyprus Institute. We were supposed to have Mr. Hayes Nakin, Senior Global and Governmental Liaison Officer at VentureWell, which is a US NGO specialized on supporting innovators and through connecting with challenges, with big challenges. Unfortunately, he's just canceled his participation due to personal problem. So we will discuss without his participation. And we also have the pleasure to welcome Alain Toubiana, who is cluster expert and head of Master in Cluster Management at the University of Strasbourg in France. So many thanks to all of you. Please, dear speakers, I will ask you to be quite brief and straight to the point. Even if you are only 3. For the participants of the discussion of the panel, please feel free to interact and exchange with the speakers on the chat. As I said before, one of the Next Society ambition is really to give substance to this regional community, and it really goes through events like today and through the connection we can establish among all of us. So please, you can also express your opinion and your ideas through the chat. So let's start with you, Laura. You are the CEO of EBN, which is an international network of business and innovation centers. You basically provide support through connecting the actors within your community, which is global. And there is one service in particular which is very interesting in regard of our topic today. It's the soft lending program for entrepreneurs. So Laura, could you explain us how it works and what methodology you follow to implement it and support the internationalization of entrepreneurs?
Sure. Thank you very much, Matthias. And as you well said, thank you very much to the super team of Berytech for putting this great event together. As you well said, the EBN soft landing program is actually one of the services that EBN and its EU BIC quality certified member do provide to companies that are willing to go international. And now it has been in place, I think, for the last a little bit less than 10 years. So we have quite experience there. We have tested a few times and we have tested in different regions. It supports entrepreneurs and companies from all over the world that have international business development aspiration. The methodology at the base of this program has probably one main feature, meaning that it is completely customized, it is completely tailor-made on the basis of the entrepreneurs or companies that wish to go international needs. And the rest is all the procedure and all the, let's say, the logistic, the practical details are defined on the basis of that. How practically this work? The company of the entrepreneurs that wants to go international is basically receive support from one of our members, and when there is not possible via our trustful network of partners, receive business support. A business support that is very short in terms of time. We're speaking about 3 to 5 days, and it's very much focused on international development. It is delivered so in other countries, it is delivered in other regions by what we call the hosting incubator, the receiving incubators or science park. Which had main added values to be that well rooted in their innovation ecosystem, so knows very well the market and the players. And the role of this hosting incubator is basically to fast track the companies towards the international development, providing them privileged access to basically an office that is always useful to start with, provide support by the local team on a full range of aspects going from legal to financial to the more practical as well issue, cultural wise, what you have to take into account when you move abroad. And enable the companies with a kind of market intelligence on the targeted commercial areas, and finally facilitate the international collaboration on global basis. Let's say that's basically
it. Many thanks, Laura. So I understand that you facilitate internationalization of entrepreneurs. Concretely by offering them 3 to 5 days of what we can call incubation abroad by one of your members. We get the point that it should be personalized to succeed, but still the general mechanism keeps more or less unchanged for each entrepreneur. So how do you manage things since the pandemic, since the COVID crisis? Because internationalization, I mean, that's very concrete. You have to to meet your customers, you have to physically test the market. So how it works now since 2020?
You touched a very relevant point. Whereas the general methodology didn't change because thanks of initiatives such as the Next Society or few other initiatives that we have carried, namely for the MENA region, remain the same. Small adjustment, let's say, in relation to the identification of the potential beneficiaries have been implemented in the last period. The pandemic has been definitely disruptive at all levels, let's be honest, but you said it very well before, above all when it comes to internationalization, where people are supposed to travel, to meet in person, to understand, to see, to get in contact. Let's say that if there is one thing that we have learned from our member in the partner organization we've worked with, resilience is one of the best quality. So with the advice of in the specific case, I'll just bring probably the specific example of what happened in the Next Society. With the advice of Anima, the project coordinator, as well as the EUBIC, they were part of the soft landing program that have delivered soft landing. The soft landing services since the beginning of the project. Somehow we have revised all the preparation, which requires way more time than before. Longer preparation for shorter visits, shorter time that happen online. We didn't try it fully yet, if not with let's say internal pilot testing that have we can say that have worked. So we are pretty optimistic. If I remember well, I think in the framework of the Next Society, we have already 5 online visits planned between end of the year and the first 3 months of 2021. So I'm sure we will be able to share some success stories there on this revised version of the soft landing. So basically the visits happen online. We've tested this as well with our certification process. So we are trying to pilot this new method and test it on our members first. It seems that works, so we look forward really to start helping again the entrepreneurs from the MENA region with this program soon.
Okay, great. So technically speaking, that remains possible.
It remains possible, indeed.
Great, thank you. Alain Toubiana, to remind everyone, you are a cluster expert. We just listened to ABN explaining how they adapt the format of their services to innovators. We know that this COVID crisis also highlights some good practices led by clusters in the region. I mean, as solutions or as answers to the pandemic. So could you tell us a word on that, you who are close to the Mediterranean clusters?
Yes, well, good evening, Matthias. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back in the Next Society project and in Beirut. Yes, both in Europe and in the South Mediterranean clusters organization have been able really to react very fast to the pandemic, and they have shown a lot of resilience capacity. So in the South Mediterranean, for example, because I'm working in Morocco since 1 year, and I can take the example of electronic, microelectronic and mechanics cluster, CE3M, which has been really, really incredible, amazing in its capacity to develop rapidly projects to face the pandemic. For example, 2 groups of companies, member of the cluster, were able to develop a respirator using only Moroccan elements. And in a very short time, one of the respirator was, the prototype was developed within 2 weeks. And one of these respirator has been certified by the Ministry of Health and they order 500 respirators, which is 3 times the stock, the existing stock of respirators in the country. They also worked on 3D printing masks, spreading 3D models all around the country. They have also organized a very efficient program with the Moroccan diaspora in the States for a maintenance program for medical equipments, which has broken down in the hospitals, and because there are no money to pay for the maintenance. And they also developed special rapid test for COVID-19. So this is a very good example of resilience coming from networks, you know.
Yes, thank you very much, Alain. Indeed, that's actually very impressive, because the feeling I have is that it has been developed very, very fast, and in an excellent cooperation condition, local cooperation condition. So I actually have a double question for you. The first is, why precisely this crisis allowed such an excellent cooperation in Morocco? And if clusters can be an answer for such crisis, how to make them more engaged and even an engine of innovation, generally speaking, at national ecosystem level, according to you, Alain Toubiana?
Well, first of all, I think if they were able to react so fast, it's because it's an excellent and mature cluster. It exists since 2006. So they have a lot of experience working together. And
one of the first one in Morocco.
Yeah, one of the first one, and it's a bottom-up initiative. So, and I think this is crucial.
That's not the government that.
No. It comes from the companies by itself, and this is one of a key factor of success. So, on a more broader approach, I think that it has been proven that a cluster initiative, an ecosystem, produce innovation even if they are completely business oriented at the beginning, you know, and this comes because a cluster initiative is a knowledge node. And the role of a cluster organization is to help entrepreneurs to use this huge amount of knowledge through projects, which will lead to new companies, new products, new processes, and all this is innovation at the end. So
you say that clusters are a model in itself.
Yes, it's a role model. And the real tricky point, and this is the main question of about cluster management, is how to optimize this gathering of knowledge and then this spreading of knowledge through projects. So how to produce new projects, and we know how to do, because now. We are observing clusters since 25 years. So first, you need to gather a lot of data on companies, on skills, on processes, on markets, on technologies, etc. You need to use strategic intelligence to detect weak signals. And you need to organize the conditions for people to meet. So workshops, work cafe, focus group, and so on, and hackathon, whatever you want. Mm-hmm. So second, you need in parallel to produce tailor-made services to facilitate the access to market, to finance, to new technologies, and to new skills to companies. And not only for the existing companies in your cluster, but also for young entrepreneurs, through dedicated programs like incubation programs, mentoring programs, training programs, etc. And in Morocco, C3M, they do that, I think, in a very good way. They help startups. Every year they have at least 10 startups, and now they have launched a mentoring program for these startups using the mature companies to help the young companies.
Excellent. Many thanks. We just saw that clusters can initiate the innovation dynamic within a national ecosystem. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I can hear my voice in one of your microphones. Let's go ahead. Yes, I was saying that, Alain, you said that clusters can initiate an innovation dynamic within an ecosystem, a national ecosystem, and even cooperate to develop solutions to a crisis, which is definitely huge. So that actually brings me to a question for you, Fabio. You work for the Cyprus Institute, which is a research institute in technology and innovation, with a strong focus on the whole region. I think we all know that the Mediterranean region is facing big challenges. So how to address these challenges through innovation? How to link these challenges to the solutions developed by MED innovators, like clusters just did at local level with the COVID crisis?
Thank you, Matthias, and thank you for inviting me. Yes, I want to elaborate on the very interesting example coming from Alain. You have crisis, and we recognize that we have crisis in the world Mediterranean area, but you need a culture to face the crisis. And the clusters in Morocco, they have identity and they have culture. So they are recognized themselves as a subject, as somebody that can face a crisis. What we are missing at the Mediterranean level today is a sense of identity and destiny that is bringing us as Mediterranean people to face the crisis of the Mediterranean area. So we recognize that we have a lot of problems, but these problems are, for somebody else. So we don't consider that solving these problems as a community of innovators, as a community of, let's say, of destiny, is something that is the overall priority that we have. If we talk about what we have in common, the sea, we think that the sea is something we have to divide in exclusive economic zones, not a place where we have to share our capacity, our industry, our innovators, in order to have the best management of the sea that is possible. What is happening when we leave this process going, let's say, alone, is that we still build innovators, so we support innovators for the global space. So we are, let's say, helping them to go away. We lose them because we are not creating a match of our capacity with our problem. And this is a lack of culture. That's, I would start and stress that we have to create something that is this sense of community that's built around cultural drivers.
So that's actually very interesting. Thank you, Fabio. What you say, if I understand well, is that despite a lot in common, which should constitute a common base, there is a kind of disconnection between the way we generate innovators and our overall capacity to address the challenges of the region. So how business and innovation support organizations and also cooperation projects like the Next Society and other ones should deal with this disconnection, and what is innovation support organization role in it?
We have to work at the, let's say, at the geostrategical level, as clusters are working at the specific local level. So we have to recover a geostrategical approach. As we share our sea, we share our fisheries, we share our food resources, we share our air, we share our touristic opportunities. We share everything, but we don't recognize that we are sharing that. We are just, let's say, fighting for the borders. So we build walls instead of understanding that we have to put things in common. What do we need? We need strong, but really strong and strategical programs at the Mediterranean level in order to work on what we have in common, not on what we have to divide. So if we think about energy, is there any strategic framework where we are playing together around the issue of switching from the traditional energy model to the new one? If I'm polluting in Cyprus, I'm destroying Egypt and vice versa. So there are problems that cannot be addressed at the state level, but I fully understand. I mean, we can be dreamers and not be the only ones, but you know, we have to talk about the right perspective in order to balance other perspectives. So if we talk about what we have and we share, we need programs. We have now very interesting programs in this direction. We have the INI or any CBC Med, fantastic, with a very strong strategy. We have Prima for the food within Horizon 2020, and we will have something like this in Horizon Europe. We have the Union for the Mediterranean. We have many bodies that are working to create this space. We have to connect them and give them the highest political dignity. So that's the point. And then from this, let's say, cultural framework, then we can go into the details. So let's start mobility at a Mediterranean level for innovators. So we send them in the Central European hubs, or we send them to the United States, but we have also to move innovators from Lebanon to Italy, to Cyprus, to Greece, to Spain, in order to create this network of thinkers that have an identity for the Mediterranean space.
Thank you very much, Fabio. Laura, turning to you again, because what Fabio said to encourage internal mobility within the Euro-Mediterranean region is really interesting. This is exactly what you do with the soft landing program in this region. I mean, in the perspective of a scalability of this soft landing program, very concretely, according to you, what are the ingredients to put to make this service more successful and scalable? Because this is really what we are talking about, how we generate something in common, as Fabio said.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and very inspiring indeed what Fabio said. Well, Fabio used a couple of words that in EBN we really like: community and common denominator, and using somehow having shared the same aim, share the same standard. Well, that's one of the ingredients why the soft landing program is so replicable, if you want, because we do rely on a group of business support organizations that do meet. Everybody has to meet the top level in terms of quality of the business support services they do deliver to entrepreneurs. This is one thing. And on the other side, these commonalities as well go together with all the differences that actually when it comes to our community, and as well when I speak about community, I speak as well about partner organization. All of these organizations coming from different places and can bring different solutions to different problems. And then it goes probably back again, and then these the last things that I would like to mention. There was the first one. It is the fact that we avoiding the standardization is really very much what tailor-made to the entrepreneur's needs. That's the main success element, most probably.
Thank you, panelists. Thank you. That is all the time we have for today. Matthias, thank you so much for moderating this panel. Do you want to, 30 seconds in closing, did you want to say anything, Matthias?
Yeah, thank you very much, Yumna. it's quite frustrating to have only 20 minutes to do so. But just to quickly conclude, because I would like to say that when we see the action of EBN, like Laura presented, in connecting actors throughout the region to make possible internationalization of entrepreneurs. Also, when I see what we do within networks like the Next Society to connect entrepreneurs with mentors and investors. Also, when we look at what the clusters are making possible locally, we have to say that this innovation and entrepreneurship support community does exist, and we have to build on that. What I also retain is that despite the crisis and the restriction we face, there is some alternative, some new modus operandi to deliver services. So I think we should keep that in mind when we build a new Mediterranean specific innovation model. It is recommended by Fabio, because still it's clear that we have this disconnection between the huge challenges in the region and probably where most of the efforts are generally put to generate innovation. So yeah, definitely the topic is wide and would deserve more time. Just I would like to thank each one of you for having been here, and yeah, Yumna, I give back the floor for the next session. Many thanks.
Thank you, Mathias, and thank you to our panelists for joining us today.